Welcome to The Explainer. Right off the bat today, we are tackling a massive, often invisible hurdle. We're talking about that deep-seated psychological insecurity that millions of us face when it comes to spoken English. Listen, so many of us have incredible clarity of thought, yet the moment we have to express it in English, we completely freeze up. Well, today, we are going to unlearn all of that through a 5-step psychological reset.
So let me just ask you this right now. Does speaking English equal intelligence? Seriously, think about how often our society operates on this exact premise. Think about those silent judgments passed in boardrooms, in college classrooms, or even just hanging out at social gatherings. We have been so conditioned to look at someone speaking fluent English and immediately think, wow, they must be super smart.
But the answer is a massive, resounding no. Absolutely not. It is high time we completely debunk this toxic myth. Speaking a specific language does not make you smarter. It literally just means you know a specific language. That's the whole shebang. We have got to strip English of this false halo we've given it because honestly, as long as you equate this language with your fundamental self-worth or your brain power, you are always going to be way too terrified to just speak it naturally.
Now, you might be wondering, where did this mindset even come from? Well, as our source material points out, it is quite literally a historical hangover. It's a flaw stemming from 200 years of British rule. That entire period basically drilled into our societal subconscious that English is the language of the elite, the language of the authorities, and therefore the language of the intelligent. But you know what? That era is long gone. We are walking around carrying a 2-century-old mental block that is completely useless to us now. Okay, so how do we actually fix this? Let's dive right into step 1. Input over output. First things first, forget those rigorous grammar classes. We need to completely shift the pressure away from outputting perfect sentences and move toward enjoyable immersion. So what does that look like in real life? We've got 3 incredibly low-stress habits for you. First, watch simple video content. Cartoons are absolutely fantastic because the language is literally designed for children to grasp easily. But hey, if you feel a bit too old for cartoons, turn to sports commentary. Listen to Indian commentators who speak in clear, accessible English. We're talking about legends like Rahul Dravid, Sourav Ganguly, or Harsha Bogle. Second, if you aren't really a video person, throw on a podcast or the radio. And third, if you learn better by reading, pick up something super easy like a 10th standard ICSE textbook filled with short stories.
And the magic number for all of this? 15. That's it. You don't need to sit at a desk for 3 grueling hours a day. All it takes is a minimum of 15 minutes of this enjoyable practice every single day to start seeing some really profound changes. Just 15 minutes of watching a sport you already love or reading a quick story. It builds the habit without triggering all that anxiety.
And once you've got that daily habit locked in, we move right along to step 2. Observe, don't memorize. Now, this requires a pretty massive mental shift. Instead of obsessing over memorizing complex, flashy vocabulary just to sound smart, focus your energy on becoming a detective of sentence construction. When you're watching that cricket match, notice how they string their words together. When you spot a difference between how they build a sentence and how you would construct it in your own head, just make a mental note. Don't stress out, don't reach for a dictionary, just casually observe the mechanics without all the anxiety of memorization. All right, now we are getting into the absolute psychological core of this explainer. Step 3, the ego check.
Let me ask you this directly, and I want you to really think about it. Why do people mock your English? Have you ever been in a situation where you stumbled on a word, or maybe used the wrong grammar, and someone smirked? Or maybe they corrected you in this incredibly condescending way. Why do they do that?
See, there is a massive disconnect happening here. When you get mocked, your brain instantly tells you, I am not smart enough, I'm failing. But the reality, the actual truth, people who mock someone else's English are just projecting their own insecurity as a cheap way to boost their own ego. They are deeply, deeply conscious about their own status. And unfortunately, you are just the convenient target. And because of that, the ultimate cheat code to fluency is hidden right here. Put your own ego on the side. Get rid of your arrogance. You literally cannot care about the opinions of deeply insecure people. Dropping your own ego, actually accepting that you are in a learning phase and that you aren't perfect yet, is the true key to finally unlocking your ability to speak freely. Seriously, the best thing you can do is actively embrace your mistakes. If someone corrects you, do not feel humiliated. Take it as a gift. Because guess what? You are going to remember that correction forever, and your English will permanently improve because of it.
And you know, when you stop fearing those mistakes, you stop cluttering your brain with panic.
Which brings us seamlessly to step 4, finding mental clarity.
So here are the 3 major mental blocks that completely ruin your confidence and cause you to freeze up. First, the classic "what will people say" syndrome. Second, that exhausting internal process of thinking of a sentence in your native language, say Hindi, and trying to live translate it into English right before speaking. And third, desperately searching your brain for that one specific smart-sounding word. All of this just completely drains your mental RAM.
So, how do we clear out that mental RAM? The solution might actually surprise you, but it is highly, highly effective. Meditation. Now, I know it sounds a little unconventional for language learning, but clarity of thought is the absolute foundation of communication. Meditation grounds the mind. It clears out the anxiety, all that mental static, allowing you to quickly access the words you already know without the interference of fear or those awkward translation delays. Finally, we need to zoom out a bit from our individual habits. Step 5, the cultural reset.
We have got to permanently strip English of its false, outsized importance. Look at the rest of the world for a second. In Japan, they speak Japanese. In Germany, they speak German, and they are incredibly proud of it. But in India, we judge our own citizens based on a foreign language. When you actually look at it from a global perspective, you realize just how absurd and uniquely flawed this societal mindset really is. You should be immensely proud of your native culture and your mother tongue, whether that's Marathi, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Sanskrit, or any of the incredible languages your forefathers spoke. English is simply a tool. It's a tool for business and global connection. It is absolutely not a replacement for your cultural identity. And because of that, you need to know that it is perfectly okay to mix languages. Modern, real-world communication completely accepts mixing your native tongue with English. Honestly, it's mostly just the older generation enforcing these strict, outdated rules about speaking pure English. The modern world, they just want to know if they can understand your ideas.
So if you take anything away today, let it be this powerful piece of advice. If you get stuck while speaking English, just complete your sentence in your native language. Throw in a Hindi word or whatever language you speak and just keep the conversation moving. Doing this instantly and completely relieves the psychological pressure of trying to be perfect.
Which leaves us with one final thought to ponder. Are you ready to drop the linguistic baggage and just speak? The moment you realize that communication is about sharing ideas, not proving your intelligence through a fancy vocabulary, the whole game changes. Leave the ego behind, embrace the mix, and start prioritizing your own self-improvement over societal judgment. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I truly hope this empowers you to finally let your voice be heard exactly as it is.